This building sits on a bluff in Encinitas overlooking the Lux Art Institute. It hasn't been there long, and it was built by one man, artist Wes Bruce.
Just for the sake of really connecting with the ideas and the space itself, I chose to build most of it kind of with my own time and hands and thought.
It might not look like much now, but in a week it will be transformed into a chapel of memories. Some of them are Bruce's memories. Others he's collected through letters and stories from strangers. He's asked people to tell him about the buildings that mean something to them.
Everyone has a different relationship with the buildings that might be in their life, whether it's the house you grew up in, the place that you work at, the place where you went to school, some place that you worship in, some place that you just dread going to every day. There's all kinds of different scenarios that people have a connection with a building, but it's the experiences of human beings I'm interested in, as plain and simply as any given day might be.
For Bruce, buildings spark memories. They capture moments in time that he would like to preserve.
On Saturday night, I would sleep in late and wake to hear the sound of the lawnmower. We had a huge, big green lawn, so my dad would be out there riding the lawnmower. The smell of the grass would drift up to my open window.
Bruce has turned all these memories into imagined journal entries.
They place a moment in somebody's life in front of you, and it's a pretty moving thing to read somebody's journal or read somebody's diary, or to be told this really huge piece of personal information.
He writes the journal entries on paper he's found and collected all over the country.
It's been a slow collection process where I'll find a stack here or an old kind of dilapidated notebook here, or I'm given a lot of old pages as well that people have found, or if I'm just even cruising downtown and I find a piece that's been outside and been weathered, I'll take that and do a writing or do a drawing on it.
It all started with abandoned buildings. Bruce has been seeking them out for years. In 2010, he built a 2,000 square foot fort in the California Center for the Arts in Escondido. In it were hundreds of objects he's collected from abandoned homes.
It's a really different sensation. It's really personal, because normally you wouldn't have access to a stranger's home, and most of the houses that I've been into and have gathered from are set to be destroyed and demolished. And so it's this end of a story. It's the end of a narrative, and I'm really interested at the beginnings and endings of narratives in story.
The building at Lux was inspired by an abandoned church Bruce found on Highway 80 in Nebraska.
And it had beautiful, high arching kind of Gothic style stained glass windows that at this point are all entirely blown out. They're broken and it's on the floor. All the pews are still in this church, but they're all crooked and askew. The organ is still up front, and when you enter into this just doorless, broken church, it looks like that organ could start playing at any second, because the keys are all still in place. It's where the organist left it. I'd never been to a space that I knew without a doubt had been like a sacred, spiritual, worshipful place.
All of those stories and thoughts that Bruce transferred to paper will be hung in this building over the next week.
Pages on strings that are everywhere in the ceiling. It's going to be kind of manic, just pages everywhere, tons and tons and tons and tons of paper.
He's also collected photographs. People give him old photos, and he finds them in abandoned homes. Bruce also takes a photograph every day and collects them on his website. The old and new photographs will hang in the building alongside all of the paper memories.
To have those things just kind of rub up against each other feels like there's some sort of poetic magic that happens, object to object.
And in the end, that's what it's really about for Bruce, capturing the poetry. He sees it everywhere, in abandoned buildings, on street corners, and scraps of paper, and especially in people's memories.
I have a strong belief that there's poetry just soaked and saturated into anything and everything if you allow it to be drawn out.